Madhava Punjabi Hari. Jaya Radha Madhava Punjabi Hari. Jayam Swa Vishnu Pad Paramahamsa Parva Jakacharya Asatar Sata Shri Srimad Abhay Charnarvinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jayam Swa Vishnu Pad Paramahamsa Parva Jakacharya Asatar Sata Shri Srimad Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnavinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Se Kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaur Bhaktavinda Ki Jai. Shri Sri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shamakun Radha Kun Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Sri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Sri Mathura Dham Ki Jai. Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai. Navadvip Dham Ki Jai. Ganga Me Ki Jai. Yamuna Me Ki Jai. Tavalsi Devi Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Shri Shri Gaurnitai Ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Samaveda Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Gaur Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 6, Purusha Sukta confirmed. Text number 31. Narayane Bhagavati Tatidam Vishwam Ahitam Prihita Maya Paruguna Saga Ada Aguna Swata Narayane Bhagavati Tadadam Visvamhaitam Prihita Maya Ruguna Sagadav Aguna Swata Narayane Bhagavati Tadadam Visvamhaitam Prihita Maya Ruguna Sagadav Aguna Svataha Narayane Bhagavati Tadadam Visvamahitam Prihita Maya Ruguna Sagadav Aguna Svataha Narayane Bhagavati Tadadam Vishvamahitam Prihita Maya Ruguna Sagadav Aguna Svataha
Narayane Bhagavati Tatidang Vishwamahitam Grihitamayuruguna Sagadavaguna Svataha Narayane Bhagavati Tatidam Vishwam Ahitam Grihita Mayuru Gunaha Sargadav Aguna Swataha
Narayane Bhagavati Tadidam Vishwamahitam Vihita Mayoruguna Sargadhavaguna Swataha
Narayane Bhagavati Tadidam Vishwamahitam Grihita Mayuruna Sagadavaguna Swataha
Narayane Bhagavati Taridam Vishwam Ahitam Grihita Mayoru Guna Sargada Vaguna Swataha
Narayane Bhagavati Tadidam Vishwamahitam Grihita Mayuru Guna Sargada Vaguna Swataha
Narayane, unto Narayan, Bhagavati, the personality of Godhead, taught idam, all these material manifestations, Vishvam, all the universes, Ahitam, situated, Grihita, having accepted, Maya, material energies, Guru Guna, greatly powerful, Sarga Ada, in the matter of creation, maintenance, and destruction. Aguna, without affinity for the material modes. Swata, self-sufficiently. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. All the material manifestations of the universes are therefore situated in His powerful material energies, which He accepts self-sufficiently, although He is eternally without affinity for the material modes. Report. The question put by Narada before Brahma concerning the sustenance of the material creation is thus answered. Material actions and reactions, as the material scientist can superficially observe, are not basically ultimate truth in regards to creation, maintenance, and destruction, but the material energy is the potency of the Lord, which is displayed in time, accepting the three qualities of goodness, passion, and ignorance in the forms of Vishnu, Brahma, and Shiva. The material energy thus works under the supreme spell of His Lordship, although He is always transcendental to all such material activities. A rich man constructs a big house by spending his energy in the shape of resources, and similarly, he destroys a big house by his resources, but the maintenance is always under his personal care. The Lord is the richest of the rich because he is always fully complete in his 6 opulences. Therefore, he is not required to do anything personally, but everything in the material world is carried out by his wishes and direction. Therefore, the entire material manifestation is situated in Narayan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Impersonal conception of the Supreme Truth is due to lack of knowledge only. And this fact is clearly explained by Brahmaji, who is supposed to be the creator of the universal affairs. Brahmaji is the highest authority of Vedic wisdom, and his assertion in this connection is therefore the supreme information. Translation again. All the material manifestations of the universes are therefore situated in his powerful material energies, which he accepts self-sufficiently, although he is eternally without affinity for the material modes. Donovan Maharaj, we're eager to hear your thoughts on Srimad Bhagavatam.
The energies of the Lord, he has innumerable energies. Rasha Shakti Vividhaivashakti. So he has material energies and spiritual energies and marginal energies and more. And they're all working as his subordinates. As he wishes, they act. And in order for that to be effective, they act through the personal agency of someone who he puts in charge of that particular energy. So in other words, we have material energy working under Daivi Prakriti, the energy, the energy of the Supreme Lord. And it acts to create and maintain and annihilate, but those are under the direction of they're assigned, in a sense, to Vishnu for maintenance, Shiva for direction, and Brahma for creation. But ultimately, Krishna is above all these different, even the incarnations. Ete Changsa Kala Pumsam, Krishna is tu Bhagavan Swayam. Indraya Vyakulam Lokam, Vidyantu Yuge Yuge. All the incarnations are under Krishna. He is the source, the original. I am Bhagavan. And so in one sense, all these Vishnus are the same. Different Vishnu forms, Narayan forms. Leela avatars, 6 different types of avatars. Moon avatar, Manvantar avatar, Shakti Avesh. They're all one with the Lord. They are the same. But still there's some variety. And even the living entities, they're also one with the Lord because they're his parts and parcels. Samaya Vangso, Jiva like, Jiva Loki, Jiva Bhuta Sanat. There's eternal parts and parcels. So you can't say they're not supreme. They are divine, they're godly. But on the other hand, because of their being small, they have the tendency to be overwhelmed by the material energy. And thus, although they don't change their existence, but they become covered by the influence of the atmosphere of these modes. Living entities, therefore, it doesn't actually change the living entity, but he becomes covered. And so this covering causes him to misidentify himself with this material energy and get entangled. So this is very important, how God is one and different from everything simultaneously. Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva is the most important synthesis of science and religion, really. If scientists who are very interested in the energy of the Supreme were to try to understand this Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva, how the Lord, the personality of Godhead, is the same and different from everything at the same time. So to make everything clear, and then they should have no problem appreciating Krishna and appreciating his energies. It doesn't mean that if you appreciate Krishna's energies, you can't appreciate that there's a person, because the person can't, because you can't think of how a person could have such energies. We have to recognize our limitedness of our mind and our intelligence. And we have to go beyond that. Not that we speculate, but that we hear from highest authority how he's acting as he's giving here. The Lord is explaining how he gives in Bhagavad Gita also, how he's controlling everything. And therefore, the scientist, a Krishna conscious scientist, is above even the ordinary scientists, because they do not understand the real reason, real cause behind everything. Srimad Bhagavatam should be welcomed by all scientists.
Honorable Maharaj, thank you very much for these important points. Sometimes rich man hires a contractor to build a house, but if the rich man asks the contractor after the house is built, please maintain this house. I mean, the contractor will say, no way, because maintenance is not so easy. So we see Lord Brahma is the creator, Lord Shiva is the destroyer, but only Vishnu can be the maintainer. So this verse is very nicely translated into English by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, and it's very easy to understand, and the same concept is repeated in Bhagavad Gita. Repetition of something is necessary so that we understand it thoroughly from all different angles of vision. And some transcendentalists have an impersonal conception of the Supreme. This is a partial truth, but it's not the complete truth. Brahmeti, Paramatmeti, Bhagavaniti, Shabjate. Those who know the absolute truth know that he is both impersonal, and he has the Paramatma feature, and he has the Bhagavan feature. When I was a boy, my father drove us to the Atlantic Ocean for the first time. And when I first saw the Atlantic Ocean, it seemed to be a vast mass of water with no living entities. It seemed to be impersonal. But a couple of days later, my father took us into this bathysphere. And this bathysphere is a kind of submarine that goes down into the depths of the ocean. And this bathysphere had windows so the tourists can see different living entities. There's so many fish, there's octopuses, there's coral, there's seaweed, so many living entities within the water of the ocean. So in God's creation, there's no void, there's no vacuum. Each planet is full of varieties of living entities. But if we want to see these with our eyes, it's very difficult. We have to see through the eyes of Shastra. By accepting the Shastra, we can understand everything very easily by hearing. So the ear is the most important sense, especially in the human form of life. So God has given us an ear, and a tongue. We could hear Srimad Bhagavatam, and with the tongue we could taste Krishna Prasadam and vibrate Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And in this way, we could very easily have complete knowledge of God and how his energies are working so wonderfully. Are there any comments or questions? Jagannath Prabhu.
I was just wondering, why is the material energy so attractive to us, but not the Lord?
Because Krishna is all attractive, and this material energy is the shadow of the Vaikuntha region. Everything we see here has its correspondent reality in the spiritual world. Just like we're attracted to the opposite sex, because Krishna is attracted to his energy, his internal potency, Shrimati Radharani. So this attraction is not false, but the real attraction is there in the spiritual world. And the intelligent person is not interested in this inferior energy. Krishna has two energies, inferior and superior. So Krishna is not attracted to this inferior energy. No matter how beautiful you are, no matter how much a learned scholar you are, no matter how much austere you are, Krishna is not attracted by these qualities, because he's full, he's self-sufficient. He's full of six opulences. The only way we can attract Krishna is by our love, by our feeling. So Krishna wants our affection. He wants our feeling of love. Because everything we see here is Krishna's energy, just like this building. It's a collection of wood, cement, iron, and the clay was made into bricks. So man cannot manufacture clay. He cannot manufacture iron. He cannot manufacture wood. These things are manufactured by God. So we're always dependent on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And by this attitude of gratitude toward the Lord, one could begin his real life in devotional service. And by getting a higher taste of chanting Hare Krishna or different varieties of devotional service, we can give up these temporary manifestations of material energy by experiencing higher taste. It's time for the Sankirtan Festival. All glories. Yes, Radhastali, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Can you explain what Lord Chaitanya means when he asks to be placed as an atom at the lotus feet of the Lord?
What was that again?
When Lord Chaitanya prays to place, he says, "Place me as an atom at your lotus feet." What
Yeah.
does he mean by that?
Yes. Jai Shri Shri Gauranatam. This is the attitude of a devotee. Lord Chaitanya is Krishna himself, but he was speaking like a devotee. A devotee wants to be an insignificant servant beneath the lotus feet of the Lord. Even Bhaktivinoda Thakur prays in his song, "Let me be born as an insect in the house of a devotee. But if I'm a Brahma who is not a devotee, I won't accept that. I want to be associated with devotees." So Lord Chaitanya taught us that a real position is das, 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 anudas, servant of the servant of the servant, 100 times removed, servant of Krishna, who is the maintainer of the damsels of Raj. Yes, Bhagavatam, Prabhu.
So you mentioned the attitude of gratitude is type of a beginning of devotional service, and that can develop into a higher stage, which can lead to a higher taste. So sometimes I meet people and they want to talk some philosophy, but it doesn't seem to go anywhere. Is this a good place to start, to just try to harmonize that attitude of gratitude for the Lord with them?
Yeah. Yeah, this is the first stage of bhakti. To realize how great Krishna is. That Krishna's providing us with sunlight, moonlight, air, and without these things, no one can live. It's like if a son is ungrateful to his father, he's not recognized by the father. But if the son is always grateful to the father for providing food, clothing, and the medical care and everything else the son needs, then actually the father recognizes that son more than the ungrateful son. It's Bhagavatam.
So how does this relate to being a grateful son of the spiritual master?
Yes, the spiritual masters are eternal Father, and we should be eternally grateful to the Guru, and we're so much indebted to the Guru because he's given us the highest knowledge. He's opened our eyes. Before we were blind, and now we can see. It's only to the grace of Guru. So it's impossible to pay the debt to our spiritual master. Therefore, we have to dedicate our life for his service. And if one gives up his Guru, that's the greatest sin. One accepts a spiritual master, that's a contract for life, for good. Yes.
Can you describe the authoritative process to accept a spiritual master?
What?
The authoritative process to make that connection.
Krishna says, Tav adhi paripate na pariprasnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tapadarshinaha. Just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master. Inquire from him submissively and render service unto him. The self-realized soul can impart knowledge unto you because he has seen the truth. So, spiritual master should be approached in awe and reverence and with service and submission. Spiritual master has given us so much knowledge, so therefore, to try to repay him, we should do anything he asks us to do. We should be menial servants of the spiritual master. And then in our society, sometimes we can't serve the spiritual master directly because he's given us an organization. So you have to serve the temple president and the head pujari and other temple authorities. If we cooperate with the temple authorities, then the spiritual master is pleased. It's time for the Sankirtan Festival. Our glorious is Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna. We'll read the Sankirtan scores for this week of August 7th for the pleasure of their Lordship Sri Sri Gaurnitai, Nrsimhadev Bhagavan, Tulsi Maharani, His Holiness Dhanavir Goswami, Srila Prabhupada, the Vaishnava Acharyas, and all the assembled devotees. Wow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We had 5 book distributors this week. Rebo. Okay, so in 5th position with 1 small book, 1 big book, 1 medium book, and 1 Maha big book, for a total of 3.75 book points, Krishnendu Prabhu. In 4th position with 16 small books, 3 medium books, 1 big book, for a total of 6.5 book points, Subal Prabhu. Hare Krishna. In 3rd position with 4 small books, 5 medium books, 2 big books, and 3 Maha big books, for a total of 11.5 book points, Magadari Prabhu. Hare Krishna. In 2nd position with 3 small books, 3 medium books, 5 big books, 4 Maha big books, for a total of 15 book points, Maturnath Prabhu. Haribo. In 1st position with 11 small books, 17 medium books, 42 Maha big books, 42 big books, 35 Maha big books, for a total of 123.25 book points, Sri Shri Kumar Das. Hare Krishna. And that makes the RVC total 35 small books, 29 medium books, 51 big books, 43 Maha big books, for a total of 160.25 book points. So we have Sravanam cookies for the book distributors, and I can hand them out, but also a highlight from this week. Let's see. Maturnath Prabhu and I went to the Indian store on the way to the home program, and it was a lot of fun. We met a lot of cool people. Trying to think if one of them particularly stands out a lot. We gave out a few of the big stacks. Oh yeah, one guy was really, really nice. I started explaining there were these two guys who came, and I started talking to both of them, showing them about the temple, what we're doing, and the one was saying, "Oh well, we'll just do it online," and he was kind of like, like a really like hip guy. So I was joking with him, and he was just gonna. He said he. I kept asking, and he said he would give a small donation today, and then maybe more in the future. So he was just giving $20, and then his friend. I said, "Can I give a gift? Go get you a small gift for you and your family." I just gave him a Bhakta stack of the books, the small stack, and then his friend wanted to donate, and he looked really serious though. He was like really looking at the page a lot that I was showing him, and he just looked like really interested in the temple. And I feel like he would have given a big donation, but since like the other friend had this kind of like hip joking mood, I was still like joking with them. I was like, okay, now you can give more than he gave, so you can give out. He was like, okay, I'll give 25, but it seemed like he would have done a lot more. But I just pointed out to one of the things to him on the page, and or no, I just asked if he wanted to give 51, and so he gave that, and I gave him a big set of books. But he looked more interested than that, so I got his number, and I'm inviting him to come for the feast. Maybe he can do some more service in the future. Transcendental Book Distribution Ki Jai. Materna Prabhu.
I saw a pretty cool version of TLC in the garage. Maybe last week. It was a Gujarati version that I had never seen before with a cover that I had never seen. And I just remember thinking, wow, this would be cool to give to somebody. And then somebody came to the temple and he said he was from there. And I asked him if he had Srila Prabhupada's books, and he hadn't. So I tried to make sure he got a few, in his mother tongue. And that was one of them that I got to give to him. Hare Krishna. Well, I already have my cookie. Do I have to tell the story? I got a chance, or I think we all went out on a Friday, and it was kind of fun. It was a lot of people, and I got a chance to do some book distribution eventually. And so you get to talk to a lot of people, and when you stop talking to one person, you turn around and there's another person there. And I saw this girl approaching after I got just finished with talking with some people, and I was in a really stellar mood. And she was all colored up, like girls color their faces these days, and she looked like a beautiful fairy and everything. And so I said hello, and she was just this happy and everything. And I'm like telling her about it. And she's like, yeah, I spoke to one of you guys. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So she's like, I'm for it. I'm all about it. I'm like, oh, great, okay. So I kind of shortened my presentation, and she said, yeah, I spoke to one of you guys at the Walmart. And I said, oh, okay, yeah. Was it a big guy? She said, yeah, it was a big guy. I'm like, oh, okay, he's cool, yeah. Yeah, he's like, he was rad. Yeah. So, yeah, it was extremely like energetic exchange, and she already heard a little bit about the philosophy, and she was really excited. So, she gave a donation, and she took a book, and she said, yeah, I'm gonna stop by and visit your love fest. So Transcendental Book Distribution Key, Jai.
One Indian gentleman came from the Indian store to the feast yesterday. From like the book distribution at the Indian store.
Hare Krishna. I'd like to offer my prasadam that I received to Jagannath Prabhu because I was only inspired by him. He was distributing books. He was running around, approaching everybody, talking to everybody in the burning sun. And then I just approached one person and then I hardly said anything at all. And he was just like super cool and he took the books. So he was working so hard, and it seems like I got more of a result, but I really admired how hard he was working. I think that was more special. So, Transcendental Book Distribution, Ki Jai.
We have a goal to do 30 Srimad Bhagavatam sets by what is it? Bhadra Purnima. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Transcendental Book Distribution Ki Jai.